It has been a chaotic few days for Democrats in Wisconsin, where the governor's race has become another front in the battle between the party establishment and the far left. It is a wild race. The frontrunner may be 37-year-old Democratic socialist Francesca Hong. Party leaders are worried she can't win in a purple state like Wisconsin. On Friday, the current lieutenant governor's campaign imploded over bombshell campaign finance issues. That left former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes as Hong's leading rival. But rather than coalesce around him, around Mandela Barnes, to stop Hong, Governor Tony Evers and others scrambled to find an alternative. Enter Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, who had dropped out of the race 9 days earlier. He got back in on Saturday, and Tony Evers immediately endorsed him. This primary is just 3 weeks away. Republican Congressman Tom Tiffany is the likely GOP nominee. Joining me now to talk about this race is Mandela Barnes. Boy, that is something going on there. And I'm going to ask you about the race in 1 second, but I do want to ask about some policy, and that is tariffs. The new tariffs that the president announced on Canadian goods. Canada is Wisconsin's top trading partner. How will this affect business in your state? Can Wisconsin do anything to counteract the potentially negative economic impacts?
I'll tell you this, will he, won't he tariff strategy is completely destabilizing entire economies across the state. Our small business owners, our family farmers have felt the devastating impact of his tariffs. And a lot of that damage that has already been done has led people to the brink of closure if they have not closed already. We deserve more than haphazard foreign economic policy. The president has shown a complete inability to lead, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our small business owners and our family farmers can fight another day, despite the fact that Trump is doing everything he possibly can to make life harder for people.
But how do you do that? If you were governor, how would you do that?
Yeah, so we got to look at immediate resources, emergency resources for family farmers, especially as this all still plays out in course. The legal process still has a chance to run its course. We've seen the reversal of these tariffs. We've seen the Trump administration lose time and time again because of its poor decision making. But I do think we should explore efforts to create, whether it's bridge payments or loans with zero interest, to help our family farmers, to help our small businesses continue to be able to provide the resources to communities that they have been providing for so long. If they are out of the mix, this leaves many communities with nothing, no source of economic activity, no source of food. Like it's just a really cataclysmic mix.
So let's turn to your race for governor to win the Democratic primary. I'm just going to recap the sort of long and winding and twisting road that is still twisting. Last week, the Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez, dropped out of the race, leaving you and Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong as the leading candidates. Rather than endorse you, the governor, Tony Evers, who is term limited, backed a new candidate who re-entered the race, David Crowley. Why not you?
Well, I can tell you, I got in this race because life is too hard for too many people. Families continue to struggle with high costs. People are finding it more difficult to stay in their homes. People are finding it more difficult to put food on the table, pay for doctor bills, you name it. And I have zero interest in maintaining the status quo. I have zero interest in upholding a broken system that continues to make life hard for people. This is what I fought against my entire career. I've gone against the grain time and time again. I fought against the establishment. And like I say, I don't have the receipts to prove it. I have the bruises to prove it. And we're going to continue to power through this primary campaign. Even the current lieutenant governor, her internal polling showed me ahead, and it showed her in third place. We're running a strong campaign that's reaching people in every corner of Wisconsin. We are leading on the issues that matter. We're talking about a plan to make life better for people, not just holding Donald Trump accountable, but showing up to do the hard work to make sure that our schools have the resources they need.
Why does the sitting Democratic governor not agree with that? What do you think the reason is?
Well, again, this campaign has been about a complete rejection of the status quo. Our people all across the state deserve so much more. This isn't about continuing a legacy. This is about ushering in a new era of opportunity. I got a lot of respect for the governor, but I still think there's so much more that we can do as a state to bring about opportunity to every single county.
Let me put a finer point on it, and I just want to go back to 2022. You ran for Senate against Republican Ron Johnson, one of President Trump's biggest allies in Congress, and you lost that race pretty narrowly, but a lot of Democrats thought that it was winnable. Do you think the reason why Tony Evers and others are not supporting you is because they don't think you can win against the Republican and keep the governor's seat in Democratic hands?
Well, I can tell you, I'm the only person who's ever competed and won statewide. I was right alongside Governor Evers, helping to kick Scott Walker out of office in 2018. Now, my Senate race in 22 was the closest Senate race in the state in over 100 years. It was the closest challenge to any incumbent. And I learned a lot from that race. But I can tell you, I was left out to dry by Chuck Schumer and D.C. establishment politicians. And the people who knew that I could win for sure were Republican billionaires. And that's why they spent so much money against me. $50 million was spent against me. We were outspent by $26 million. If we were not left out to dry by Chuck Schumer and establishment D.C. Democrats, we'd be having a much different conversation right now at this moment. But again, I am the only battle-tested candidate in this campaign, in this primary. I've proven time and time again. I've shown up. I've done the hard work. I've taken on the tough fights. And nobody else can make that case that I've made. And I'm really excited and encouraged by the groundswell of support that we have seen ever since this announcement was made. I'm really encouraged by the people who have stepped up almost immediately out of sheer frustration. And these are moderate Democrats. These are the most progressive Democrats. There have even been some conservative Republicans who have reached out of a deep frustration because of what we are experiencing from typical insider politics. When we play insider politics, the only people that win are corporations and special interests.
Let me just ask you one final question. Do you think if Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong becomes the nominee, could she win in November?
Well, that's up to her to answer. And I can tell you that our fight is about uniting this party. It's about bringing people together from all stripes. But there is a reason why Republicans are lining up, spending $3 million to choose their candidate. She happens to be the handpicked candidate for Republicans. Now, while we have an establishment handpicked candidate and a Republican handpicked candidate, I'm the person who is committed to bringing this state together, to fight for more, to deliver the real change that people deserve in every single corner, every zip code, the change that people have been denied for far too long. We're going to take on those tough fights, regardless if it's Republicans or people in our own party that want to hold us back from progress.
Mandela Barnes, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we invited David Crowley on the program. Hope to have him soon. We had an interview scheduled last week with Francesca Hong, but she canceled less than an hour before airtime. We hope to have her on before the primary as well. Florida was